Good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth. Aguele. Let's begin on a cheering note. Federal government has reduced pump price of petrol with 5 naira. Now, our correspondent, Mia Ogidi, is out there live to give us a situation report. Mia, if you can hear me loud and clear, how is the compliance in filling stations and the subsequent impact of the reduction?
Yes, we are here at the NNPC filling station at the Central Business District of Abuja. Before this agreement, a decision by the federal government and Labour for as of that time to sell the fuel at 168 naira by private filling stations, and NNPC filling stations were selling at 163 naira per litre. But with this new arrangement, private filling stations has to sell at 162.44 naira per litre, while NNPC filling stations are to sell at 159 naira. And we are here at the NNPC filling station. It's clearly displayed. NNPC has adjusted the meter to 159 naira for a litre. But that is not the situation in the private filling stations. We have been to like 3 or 4 private filling stations, and the reason they are giving for still maintaining the previous price of 168 naira for a litre is that they have to sell off the petrol they have in stock before the 14th of December, that is today. And some are saying that there are technicians not around to do the adjustment. So they are still maintaining the previous price as of the filling stations we have been to in the central area in Abuja. So being the place that is selling at the lowest price of 159 naira per litre for now, if my cameraman can just take me to my left-hand side, you can see a very long queue of motorists expectedly, because everybody is trying to get at the cheapest place. Yes, you can see a very long queue from this NNPC filling station down to GSM Village. One may even think there is fuel scarcity, but there is none, just because the price here has been adjusted to 159 naira for a litre. Ruth.
Well, thank you very much, Mia, for that. I'm not surprised to see vehicles plying that filling station. I will also do that myself. 155 naira. That's a good deal. All right, thank you, Mia. Meanwhile, a 13 members monitoring and stabilization technical committee on petrol price framework has been inaugurated in Abuja. Well, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, while inaugurating the members, says the committee is to enthrone transparency in the task given to them, as a report of the committee is to be submitted on the 25th of January 2021.
Government has taken a back seat. Government has not fixed the price that took off from today. It was a price reduction gotten from the commercials, that like demurrage, transshipment, and even storage. And this committee will be expected to do more to ensure transparency.
I hope at the end our contributions will help lighten the load on all the parties that are involved in making this heavyweight decision for the country.
Members of the technical committee include federal government representatives, the organized labor, and other stakeholders in the petroleum industry. Federal and state governments are working out strategies to improve on the nation's internally generated revenue and strengthen tax laws for effective fiscal regime in the country. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this was at the 6th IGR Pair Learning organized by the Nigeria Governors Forum to bridge existing revenue gaps and review performance of states in meeting future expenditures.
The successful recovery from 2016 recession did not offer adequate time frame for effective economic transition before the COVID-19 economic lockdown and the NSAS protests plunged Nigeria into another phase of economic downturn. These factors are reasons for the joint efforts by federal and state governments to establish frameworks that will improve revenue drive, repeal financial acts, and strengthen tax policies for revenue-generating agencies.
Analysts are saying Nigeria is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. So yes, we're in recession, but we're very quickly growing out of recession and being able to set the country back on the path of growth. So this meeting that is holding here today is giving us a further opportunity to interact with the states and grow the revenue together and grow the economy together.
We must collaborate, share data, intelligence and information, and embrace advanced taxpayer profiling techniques to inform our approach to taxpayer management.
It has been wonderful to see the political leadership from the governors, the dedication to making progress, and the strong work of the NGO secretariat in connecting states to technical assistance.
Khalid Ibrahim Ahmed is the secretary of Nasarawa State Internal Revenue Service, and his Oyo State counterpart John Adeleke say hopes are not lost as strategies are being improved to stabilize budget funding and performance in the interest of development.
Despite the COVID-19 thing, based on also on the realistic budget that we have, Nasarawa State has performed tremendously.
We have done fairly well, and the revenue can only be in the growth trajectory.
While this commitment are sustained, federal government says it is determined to improve the GDP to 15% growth rate, as well as reduce public spending and sustain financial interventions for rapid economic transformation. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Following the plan by state governments to fund infrastructure from pension funds, guest on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria say the apprehensions of the public, especially retirees, are genuine, as the Pension Reform Act 2004 does not envisage borrowing from pension funds. Daniel Aderiye has more to tell us.
Workers, including myself, as a retiree under the contributory pension scheme, will be worried if anything is done to affect our fund negatively. More than 90% of state governments have not keyed into the contributory pension fund.
This reaction seems popular in public domain regarding the reported move by state governments to borrow from pension funds. However, others opine that if state governments can prove their viability, accessing pension funds should not be a problem.
As long as a state governor or a state government has met all the prerequisites as established by the Securities and Exchange Commission, as espoused by PENCOM and other regulatory authorities, I think it is only fair and natural we allow the state governors and indeed the state government to borrow from the pension fund in our kitty.
For the guests, the antecedent and trust deficit may stand in the way of the state governments.
It's an investment. It means the project is identifiable, is verifiable, there's a time frame, and when those monies are deployed, it will be used for the purpose that it is meant for.
We must have this at the back of our minds, that pension funds are essentially securities for those who are working in the future.
The tiers of government were advised to stick to the purpose of the pension funds, as it serves as both economic and social safety nets for senior citizens. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, has revealed that some members of his household tested positive for COVID-19 Saturday evening. Well, the SGF in a statement, however, notes that himself and his wife tested negative, but he will remain in self-isolation and work from home according to protocols by the health authorities. The PTF chairman says his family members who are positive are currently asymptomatic but have been been isolated and are receiving care in one of the government treatment centers. He advises Nigerians to adhere to all public health and safety measures in order to safeguard the gains made in the fight against COVID-19. The SGF reaffirms that COVID-19 is real and that increase in cases being reported across several states by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control should compel citizens to take personal responsibility to protect themselves and the nation. Let's also inform you that 414 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded in Nigeria within the past 24 hours. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control says the new infections were discovered in 16 states and the FCT, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Nigeria to 73,175. Lagos State has 113 of the new cases. 86 are in FCT, 47 in Abia, 39 in Kaduna, 27 in Rivers, and 22 in Katsina. Benue has 14 new cases, 13 in Oyo, 12 in Kano, 8 in Enugu, 7 each in Edo and Imo states, 6 each in Bauchi, Ebonyi and Ogun states, 4 in Ondo and 1 case in Nasarawa. Lagos leads on the state's chart with 24,952 cases, followed by the FCT with 8,424 cases, while Plateau trails with 3,997 cases. Active cases nationwide have increased to 5,888, with 6,090 recovered patients discharged, while the death toll has risen to 1,197. Well, more reports arising from the pandemic says Nigerian Army has placed all those that participated in the recent Chief of Army Staff Conference in Abuja on isolation, following the death of Major General John Ibrahim. A statement by the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sagir Musa, says as at Sunday 13th December 2020, 417 personnel were tested with 26 confirmed positive cases. The statement says Nigeria Center for Disease Control recommended COVID-19 treatment drugs are being used to treat those that tested positive. Similarly, officers and soldiers at the Army headquarters are being tested and COVID-19 protocols being strictly enforced across all units and formations of the Nigerian Army, while the headquarters complex was fumigated on Saturday, 12 December 2020. The United States Government Exchange Alumni Association of Nigeria, Rivers State Chapter, has organized a one-day conference on COVID-19 intervention program. Well, the essence is to help reawaken the minds of the people towards observing all the COVID-19 protocols. Ifoma Omensa reports that the program is in partnership with Young African Leaders Initiative.
Schools and other economic activities set in motion the return to normal life. Taking adequate responsibility by observing all the COVID-19 protocols is of concern to the organizers of the conference. The conference, which is put together by the United States Government Exchange Alumni Association, would be visiting schools and remind the students of the need to always adhere to the COVID-19 protocols before and after the pandemic. The overall objective is to mitigate the spread of the virus.
So we had to find out how prepared the universities were for to receive the youth on coming back onto the campus. So we thought we should at least assist by providing COVID-19 materials.
It has become important that we still remain with the preventive measures that have been set by WHO.
Some of the kits the group hope to present to schools include hand sanitizers, hand washing soap, and face masks. Some participants at the events commended the organizers for prompt response. Nigerians are, however, admonished to wash their hands regularly, observe social distancing, and wear face masks to stop the spread of the disease. In Port Harcourt, Ifoma Omesa, NTA News.
The Court-Martial Federal Road Safety Corps, BUHARI, has tasked commanding officers to be more proactive and ensure immediate deployment of personnel for aggressive sensitization of the motoring public on the need to observe maximum safety precautionary measures in the face of the recent threat of the second wave of COVID-19 in Nigeria. In a statement, the court-martial further directed that safety managers domiciled with fleet operators must endeavor to ensure strict compliance to all standing directives given by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, including provision of running water and hand-washing equipment and making available hand sanitizers both in parks, terminals and in the vehicles. Oyemi further cautions motorists who notice any strange flu to consider the welfare of others and stay back, notify the family and loved ones of the development and report him or herself for medical examination. He also cautioned FRSC personnel detailed on enforcement to treat road users with tolerance, civility, empathy, as he called on the public to report any noticeable non-compliance by any transporter to the Corps. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says he is deeply saddened over the sudden death of Sam Inda Isaiah, the chairman and publisher of leadership newspapers. He described late Sam Isaiah as a personal, loyal and invaluable friend who had passion for community and nation building. The SGF said he recalled with fondness the support received by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 from the leadership newspaper in the areas of risk communication and community engagement, which contributed immensely to the awareness created amongst Nigerians. He prayed that Almighty God shall grant his dear wife, family members, the leadership newspaper, the media industry, friends and associates the fortitude to bear the loss. Lagos will be our first stop on Nationwide, and we're joining Jennifer. Jennifer?
Thank you, Ruth. Now, strengthening preparedness and response to emerging and re-emerging infections is a priority that requires a collective approach. This was the focus of a week-long training of military personnel on public health organized by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control in Lagos. Lynn Lineke reports.
Owing to the likelihood of a second wave of COVID-19 and other re-emerging infections, it has become necessary for proper health measures to be taken to protect citizens. At this gathering, health experts are brainstorming on ways to ensure rapid and accessible preventive and treatment options.
We've been able to put them through on how to coordinate response, on how to manage disease outbreaks of any type. No matter the type of incidents, you should put up the IMS structure, which serves as a coordination platform.
The take home from all of the trainings we've had thus far, the Nigerian Navy, Army and Air Force, to up their antics are being prepared for emergencies and re-emergent diseases.
This synergy by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and the military personnel is to bridge existing gaps and identify potential challenges to public health.
NCDC has already trained many state governments to put in place a structure that can respond effectively to emergencies. And they're now bringing further into the military setup.
If not for COVID-19, we wouldn't have been able to understand that the health system is deficient, and not just in the infrastructural level, and also inter-health coordination and communication.
As a public health physician, it goes beyond doing clinical work. You need to have that ability to be on the watch out for any emergency wherever you work.
The theme of the training, Public Health Emergency Management Training for Military Personnel, is critical to the health sector. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
And on the economy, the 2020 Lagos International Trade Fair was concluded with the optimism that the nation's economy will gradually experience a rebound despite the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Amakowu reports.
The trade fair, which was held in line with COVID-19 protocol, was also to ensure a quick restoration of normalcy in the economic and commercial activities in Lagos.
I'm happy to observe that the bar of success in terms of patronage by business operators and attendance by consumers and prospective investors was significantly raised despite the impact of COVID-19 on the global economy.
It is important for us to continue to provide active support to entrepreneurs
and business owners to mitigate such challenges through consistent marketing support activities.
The trade fair organizers said is a deliberate effort to support the Lagos State government in the ongoing Protect Lagos campaign aimed at rebuilding the Center of Excellence.
It is heartwarming to note that participants had rewarding business interactions during the fair. I commend and appreciate their resilience and their optimism. It is our hope that the governments at all levels will continue to address the issue of an enabling environment in the country, especially as regards infrastructure.
The 33rd edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair was held from 4th to 13th December 2020. It attracted investors from across the country and the continent. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
At this point, we'll take a break. The news will continue afterwards with Musa Abubakar in our Sokoto Network Center. Stay with us.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multipurpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
Do you know that 35% of every girl child and women are raped on daily basis? Some are killed in the process, some take their lives in shame, others remain emotionally dead for life. It is sad. This culture is not ours, definitely not African. How did we allow bad culture to infiltrate and take over? Even if you lack fear for the law, what of fear of God? And you, why do you cover up rape acts when it happens? Remember, a problem shared is a problem half solved. Never cover any rape act because a rapist is a murderer. It could be you or your loved ones next. Women must be treated like the prized gem they are. Say no to rape.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
And thanks for being there. The need for collective efforts towards reducing road crashes on highways has been stressed. That's where the views of stakeholders at the Federal Road Safety Corps Ember Month campaign held in Sokoto. Abdurrahman Usman Jubila reports.
Federal Road Safety Co. organized Ember Month annually with a view to sensitizing the public, especially road users, on traffic rules.
Road safety are taking measures. They are trying to take measures of linking vehicle registration and driver's license with your international ID card. By implication, it will be linked to your BVN. And once it is linked to your BVL, by the time we get your vehicle registration and you beat traffic, they will now assess and see whose BVN is there. If there is money in your bank, they will just deduct that money straight. And that one, I believe, will bring sanity.
Secretary to Sokoto State Government, Said Umar, represented, says government will continue to partner with the command to ensure that accidents are reduced.
The Ember Month campaign Plug Up is one of the laudable initiatives through which the Federal Road Safety is able to reach out and encourage its stakeholders around the state to scale their buy-in in minimizing the risk of deaths in road traffic, as majority of the people lack awareness and experience of good road use.
Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, represented by District Head of Durbawa, Alhaji Muazu Yakubu Durbawa, called on government to do more towards reducing carnage on the nation's highway. Coordinator, Federal Road Maintenance Agency, Sokoto, Victor Akintunde Akintade, presented a paper on the causes and effects of road accidents. There were goodwill messages on the need for collective effort to minimize road crashes. This year's theme for FRSC Ember Month is Drive Safe, Stay Safe. In Sokoto, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Wife of Zamfara State Governor Aisha Bello Muhammad has organized sensitization training on gender-based violence for 100 female students in the state. The students, drawn from both public and private schools, received lectures on the effect of gender-based violence and how to tackle it. Halil Muhammad Umar has more.
Gender-based violence, which has become a prevalent societal problem, has continued to receive both local and international attention, with leaders at different levels taking necessary measures to tackle the challenge. It is against this background that wife of Zamfara State Governor Aisha Bello organized a sensitization lecture for female students in the state to enlighten them on the negative impact of gender-based violence in the society and how they can contribute towards addressing it. Presentations were made by various resource persons who dwelt on the topic while stressing the need for students to expose those involved in the heinous act and report them to relevant authorities for necessary action.
Learn and try to educate others when you leave this place.
Wife of the Zamfara State Governor Aisha Bello, represented by Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Social Development Halima Muhammad Bungudu, enjoined the students to be good ambassadors of their community.
We all have to put hand in deck to see that we end any form of gender-based violence in the question.
There were goodwill messages by various personalities that graced the event who underscored the significance of the initiative and urged parents as well as other stakeholders to provide proper guidance and counseling to children. In Gusau, Halil Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
Well, that's it from here. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thank you, Musa. Let's turn our attention to security matters. Security operatives intensify efforts to rescue the missing students of the Government Science Secondary School, Kankara. Some parents of the affected students express hope that their agony will soon be over. Well, the parents spoke to our correspondent, Abdul Hakim Ahmed, where they expressed optimism on the efforts by the government and called for more concerted commitment to reunite with their loved ones. We'll definitely bring you more update in our subsequent bulletin. Zamfara State Police Command has denied reports on an attack involving Sokoto State Mass Transit bus, which claimed kidnapping of the passengers on board at Kwashabawa village in Zurmi local government area of the state. A statement by the Command Public Relations Officer Superintendent of Police Shehu Mohammed described the viral video on the purported attack as a fiction of imagination by mischief makers who derive pleasure in spreading rumors to instill fear into the minds of the citizenry. According to the statement, the said mass transit bus conveying passengers from Sokoto to Katsina developed a mechanical fault along Zurmi-Jibia Road, and the passengers became apprehensive. Hence, they decided to take to flight, leaving the bus and their luggage. The statement further says, on receiving the information, the police in Zurmi town rushed to the scene and conveyed all the passengers' luggage to police station for safekeeping. Passengers later emerged, claimed their luggage and left. Troops of Operation Lafia Dole have eliminated over 20 Boko Haram terrorists that attempted to attack Askira Uba in Borno State. A statement by the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations, 7th Division, Maiduguri Colonel Ado Isa says the terrorists suspected to have come from Sambisa Forest, mounted on over 15 gun trucks, approached the town from different directions simultaneously. Colonel Isa notes that 4 gun trucks were captured from the criminals while others were destroyed by the Air Task Force that responded swiftly. Anti-aircraft guns, 2 PKT machine guns, 10 AK-47 rifles and 13 rocket-propelled grenade bombs are among arms recovered from the encounter. One soldier, however, paid the supreme price. Government efforts to find lasting solutions to the lingering security challenges in Nigeria requires genuine commitment from the citizens. Engaging members of the All Progressives Congress, Presidential Support Council in Abuja, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs and National Coordinator of the group, Godswill Akpabio, says government is equal to the task in handling the dynamics of insecurity in the country. Intensifying internal intelligence gathering method and discouraging undue interference by non-security actors is an advantage.
Security has no coloration. There is no ethnic background to security. There is no religious background to security. Security belongs to all. You have a duty to do, even by way of intelligence. The rest have a duty to do by way of tackling them. But then, of course, we also have a duty to do as government. For some of us that cannot do much, we must take the situation to God. Because where human beings fail, then God will intervene.
This country is a sovereign nation. What the Amnesty International is doing, and most of human rights organizations, we are watching fairness, equity, and justice, which is the panacea for peace and development. And that is what is our target.
All right, let's find out what's the latest in Maiduguri, and Abubakar will guide us. Abubakar.
Thanks as always, Ruth, and esteemed viewers for joining us in Maiduguri. As part of efforts to support returnee communities in the post-insurgency recovery process, 4 local government areas of Borno State have benefited from donations of medical drugs and supplies, as well as tricycle ambulances for improved reproductive, maternal, newborn and child health care. United Nations Fund for Population Activities, UNFPA, through its implementing partner, Action Health Incorporated, made the donation in support of Borno State government's resettlement drive of IDPs. The report. The materials and essential medicines donated is meant for MMC, Jere, Ngala, and Bama local government areas. The medical supplies include antenatal drugs, medical consumables, disinfectants, 300 delivery kits, and over 2,000 sanitary pads, as well as 5 fully equipped tricycle ambulances. Executive Director Action Health Incorporated, Mrs. Adenike Esiet, said, with funding from UNFPA, they are supporting Borno State government to improve and strengthen referral health services with needed materials and medicines to reduce maternal mortality and morbidity in the state.
Medical consumables that are being provided on this initiative amount to 14.9 million naira. This is significant support that's been provided by UNFPA.
While receiving the medical supplies, Permanent Secretary Minister of Health, Dr. Muhammad Guluze, noted that it has been a fruitful collaboration between UNFPA and the government, which is giving free maternal care to mothers, noting the selected areas are due to increased population of widows and orphans. Contributions by the State Ministry of Women Affairs, Primary Healthcare Development Agency, and the benefiting areas expressed gratitude for the donation and acknowledged other interventions received from the donors in psychosocial services, curbing gender-based violence, and integrated services to vulnerable people in communities hosting IDPs. first batch of trainees of Borno State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps on Advanced Emergency Responder course have graduated and presented with certificates and kits. The training, facilitated by the United Nations Mine Action Service, is expected to acquaint 107 personnel of the command with knowledge on how to save life in an emergency situation. Yagun Subukar reports.
Borno State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is the first to be trained by the United Nations Mine Action Service on Advanced Emergency Responder course. About 107 personnel of the command currently undergoing the basic respondent course, out of which 82 have been advanced, with 16 now graduating.
We need to develop our skills. We need to practice it. If you don't practice, definitely you will not make perfect.
We are ready any day, any time that we are called upon to manage traumatic situations. We will always be there.
Borno State Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Abdullahi Ibrahim, while appreciating the United Nations, said the training received will further spur the personnel to do more in saving lives.
Our personnel stand to benefit immensely from the training and of this course. This is the reason why we have done everything possible to ensure the success of this training.
Training instructor Derek Summers assured of United Nations readiness to always assist in any way possible. After 8 weeks of training, the 16 graduates of the Advanced Emergency Responder course were presented with certificates and kits to assist in saving life in an emergency situation. With this training on personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, it is now expected of them not to only provide security, but also attend to emergency health issues in case of emergency. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Those are the stories from this end. It's back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Abubakar. The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence may have come and gone, but the lessons there must keep inspiring women to stand tall and make their voices heard louder against all forms of oppression and in matters that concern them. Well, these are some of the submissions of the First Lady of Nigeria, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, and other key speakers at the Women's Conference held in Abuja. Momso Damian Detti reports.
The message of Mrs. Aisha Buhari being conveyed.
Encouraging women, especially the younger generation, for them to aspire higher politically, socially, and economically, because we are also advocating for wider space for women participation, especially in the political arena.
Then comes that of the Minister of Women Affairs, Paul and Talon, from the National Assembly, and on and on.
In life, our purpose is to ensure that we give a shoulder for other women to spring forth.
From all walks of life, irrespective of social or political affiliations, these women are here to ponder, share experiences, and re-strategize on how to better their lot in every sphere of national life.
How can we come out of this doldrum of no finance to be able to meet up?
We have to come together as one. We have to sublimate our energies towards happiness as a construct, as something that we must achieve and attain in and of ourselves. We must be deeply rooted within us, financially, emotionally, spiritually.
We need an executive bill, both in the state and in the federal level, to ensure that constitutionally women are well represented.
The event, tagged Happy Women's Conference, is considering the theme, A Woman, My Purpose. Momso Damian Dati, NTA News.
Let's look at electoral matters. Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf headed the ECOWAS election observation mission to Ghana, which commended the conduct of the just concluded presidential and parliamentary elections in the West African country. In an interview with our correspondent Musbahu Damwahab, the former Liberian president speaks on other issues, including the growth of democracy on the African continent.
This background of this election in Ghana, and you've seen it across this sub-region too, West Africa. Do you think democracy is growing on this continent?
Democracy right now is under threat in certain places. We want to be truthful about this. In some places, constitutions have been changed. In some cases, we see, small threats of of dictatorships coming in one or two places. But it's not only in Africa, mind you. This threat is coming, perhaps is being initiated by the countries that were the vanguard for democracy. And so it's something that it's a global threat that we all have to monitor, and we all have to find a way to challenge it. You know, democracy has to be won every day, in every process.
Okay, Your Excellency, now, in all of these, ECOWAS has been standing by its babies, practically. What do you make of the roles ECOWAS is playing towards ensuring the growth of democracy in the sub-region?
Let me stand up for ECOWAS on that one. Because ECOWAS, among all the regional commissions, have stood the test of time. ECOWAS has been able to exemplify what it takes for respect for the Constitution. They've insisted on.
All right, former Liberian president there speaking on the growth of democracy in Africa. Let's head to Makurdi, and Fatima will guide us on reports there.
And welcome to Makurdi. Governor Samuel Otom has reassured people of Benue State of doing everything humanly possible to secure the life and property of people, which is the primary responsibility of every responsive government. The governor said this when he visited Agbande community in Adaka area of Makurdi, where gunmen killed 4 people and wounded 7. Charles Abba reports that the governor has also promised to foot the medical bills of the wounded victims.
The attack on Agbande community by gunmen that left 4 dead and 7 wounded was said to have happened around 11 in the night of Friday. Daniel Hemen said 2 of the 4 persons killed were his siblings. Governor Samuel Otom, who condemned the attack, assured the community of adequate security to forestall the incident.
People who are deep in their sleep, and you come and murder them in this manner, without provoking you, is most painful. At our own level here, we'll meet with the security agencies as a government and see how we can strategize to handle this kind of guerrilla attack that is going on against our people.
The governor, who sympathized with the wounded persons at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, Makurdi, said this is the second attack on the community within 2 weeks. He promised that government would take care of the hospital bills of the victims and burial of those killed. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
The new pump price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, that is due to have taken effect from Monday 14th of this month as directed by the federal government a week ago, is yet to be implemented in Benue State. A visit by our correspondent to some petrol stations in Makurdi reveals that the fuel price still remains at 168 naira per litre as against 162 naira 44 kobo, which was announced by the Minister of Labour and Productivity. Iberan Solomon completes the report.
Following the outcome of the meeting between the federal government and NLC about a week ago on the need to look into the recent hike in pump price of petrol, the federal government announced a new pump price of 162 naira 44 kobo per litre from Monday the 14th of this month. However, a visit to most filling stations in Makurdi indicates that the operators are yet to adjust their meters to the new pump price. Although most of the filling stations operators declined to speak concerning this development, some motorists have lamented over the non-compliance of the operators.
The end users, we are not seeing it taking effect. Or is it the marketers that are increasing it? So we don't really understand. So increasing, I don't think they have reduced it.
You know, this is a festive period, and if care is not taken, there will be, as in hiking the price, transportation is not good.
Unfortunately, I bought it. I'm a victim myself. I bought it more than that. The price has not been reduced. So it is very, very unfortunate, and I want to appeal to those that are responsible for the enforcement to swing into action and ensure that this has been done immediately.
Meanwhile, the NNPC mega station was under lock and key. One of the managers said they are out of stock at the moment.
This is a mega one. And we don't have a product. Since last week, we have a short of products. But we expect 2 trucks in the depot. We are expecting to discharge them. When they come, when you discharge, we'll start selling.
At what? Because we didn't see any price.
The price of 159.
Officials of the Department of Petroleum Resources were not available for comments as of the time of filing this report. In Makudi, Iverin Solomon, NTA News.
And that report concludes our contribution from Makudi. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Fatima. And for us, next is a break, so you stay tuned.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President MUHAMMADU Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
NTA News 24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
Star Times channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. Join us.
Thanks for staying tuned. Well, a report just reaching us says contacts have been made with those who abducted the student of GSSS in Kankara, Katsina State. Governor Aminu Bello Masari has briefed President Muhammadu Buhari while granting audience to the governor in Daura. Details will come in our subsequent bulletin. The coronavirus pandemic has created a new urgency in the protection of health and safety of workers at all levels. Well, to achieve this, leaders are expected to be responsible for tailoring guidelines based on their organization and employee population. Aguele Brooks-Lynn Sunday reports that this was emphasized at the 2020 International Safety Conference and Awards by the Occupational Safety and Health Association held in Abuja.
Employer is required to protect the health and safety of workers at the workplace in accordance with the provisions of the Factory Acts and Labor Law. The Occupational Safety and Health Association, 10 years after its establishment in the country, health, safety, security, and environment matters have become the focus of its International Safety Conference as key players deliberate on developing safer and secure workplace in the new normal occasioned by COVID-19.
Young and old must be very conscious of the state of our health and safety of our immediate environment, especially the old.
Take active step to support efforts to control this pandemic among the workforce. The workforce are the food soldiers of our country.
We should be able to have some takeaways that will certainly touch positively on our lives and changing the narratives of the impact of COVID-19.
To drive home their mandate, a national safety advocacy project was unveiled.
Once we take care of the issue of negligence, we avoid area occurrence. Then we can now talk about look into the areas of compensation.
The conference urged workers in the country to remain proactive as they contribute their quota to national development. Aguele Brooks-Lynn Sunday, NTA News.
Experts on health say professional development, enhanced leadership capacity and entrepreneurship are strategies that will enhance nursing profession in Nigeria to meet international best practices. This was the thrust of a conference of nurses and midwives in the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital to celebrate the WHO recognition of the outstanding contributions of nurses to healthcare service delivery. Ifoma Aikweje has details.
The World Health Organization had declared 2020 as the Global Year for Nurses and Midwives, and the UUTH branch of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives rolled out the drums to celebrate the global recognition. Though challenged by the COVID-19 crisis, these frontline workers are judged their care roles in the year under review as remarkable.
The anticipation of the entire world to unite and celebrate us is because of the benefit we bring to health globally.
So there is much to celebrate in nursing. We have good in us. In our profession, I will say, we are the extended hands of God.
Other health stakeholders extolled the contributions of nurses towards actualizing the Millennium Development Goals and encouraged them to explore their potentials, raise their bar, and take care duties to an enviable height.
Healthcare is about empathy. Half of what the patient requires is you to show that concern and try to take care of the patient.
Wishing that all of us will be part of the change for good for you as an individual and good for the service you will render to the people.
We have the time, we have the life to correct whatever anomalies that was made by our forebears.
To crown their WHO declared year, nurses and midwives of the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital re-strategized ways to face the challenges of the coming year, promising to nurse the world to health. In Uyo, Ifoma Aikweje, NTA News.
Wisdom, they say, is not a function of age, but a function of knowledge and experience acquired over a period of time. Well, it is this wisdom that Onjefu Obi put to test when he launched 5 books to commemorate his Golden Jubilee. Daniel Aderie tells us more.
The 50-year mark in every man's life is usually quite symbolic, hence why many would want to make it grand and glamorous. But for Onjefu Obi, celebrating his Golden Jubilee also means he gets to share with the world his wealth of experience in his 5 books.
I've been out of the university for more than 20 years. One of the books, I wrote it while I was in the school. And it had been tasking, and I kept on writing and writing, hoping that one day I'll publish them. And that's exactly what happened, that today the books are published, because I love writing.
Friends and family of the celebrant and author who came to celebrate with him shared their thoughts on the remarkable feat of attaining 50 and authoring 5 books.
This kind of person is very introverted, so it was normal for me to just take it.
For him to be taken after closing hours to still sleep and wake about the future of Nigeria, we congratulate him, we celebrate him.
He's done quite well. I'm so proud, and I pray that his ink never runs dry. May he continue to write. There's so much to learn from what he has published.
Like every event of this nature, there was music and dance to add color to the event. In Abuja, Daniel Adiriye, NTA News.
Well, let's not give up in the fight against rape and rapists. That's Nationwide today. We do appreciate your company. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.